Your word for the day is Puddlegate, as that is the new controversy that Spider-Man and Insomniac Games have found themselves in, as claims that the title have been downgraded from its E3 2017 showing has shook the internet and riled up all the fanboys. But quite frankly, this whole controversy not only is embarrassing, but entirely too predictable. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Hope everybody is doing well. And let's get right into it, shall we? Review copies have gone out for Spider-Man, been out there for a few days, so reviewers are playing through the title, getting their thoughts ready for the embargo lifting on September 4th, but of course, that also means that retailers have the game, and some of them have been selling it early. Some people have picked it up and have posted screenshots of what the game looks like in its final release. But of course, as with every single huge release that comes out, it gets put under a microscope, and people kind of compared the trailer from 2017 to the final release and found that certain things have been changed, namely the puddles. So here we are looking at one of these comparison screenshots. You can see, oh man, look at all them puddles glistening on the floor with Spider-Man perched right here. Looks really good, doesn't it? Let's see what it looks like in the final release, shall we? What? Where'd all the puddles go? Oh my god, it dried up. There's no more puddles in this one. Let's go back. Back and forth. Okay, so to my eye, clearly, this screenshot looks better than the final release. And this is what has people so upset, so ready to either defend Sony or attack the people uploading the screenshots, or just kind of cry out to Insomniac, what exactly is going on? What is the truth behind it? So much so, there is this huge thread on Reddit Gaming, a 63-page thread on Reset Era. That's right, 63 pages. Each page has 50 posts. You finally reach the mainstream media, IGN, and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting here just with my hand in my face palming, because this happens all the time. People should have known that this was gonna go down. People tried it with God of War. They do it with Sunset Overdrive, State of Decay. They compare the game's final release build to the trailers that they were shown to see if these companies are lying to us. And sometimes they are, quite frankly. We all know Ubisoft is notorious, very notorious for their downgrades. Watch Dogs is probably the prime example. Game looked amazing prior to the consoles coming out of this gen, and of course when the game finally came out, it didn't look as good. Rainbow Six Siege, the Aliens Colonial Marines, I mean, you can think of a whole bunch of titles that have been downgraded. And quite frankly, those stick out, probably not necessarily Dark Souls 2, but those other ones, because Watch Dogs sucks. Nobody talks about the Rainbow Six downgrade because people love Rainbow Six now. And if you recall, people were very upset that Witcher 3 got downgraded from 2014 to 2015, But nobody talks about that one because Witcher 3 ended up being an amazing game. And I wonder if we're going to be in the same situation here with Spider-Man, right? Once it comes out, and if it's really good, people will probably forget about the fact that, yeah, in these pictures, you can clearly tell there's a difference. Insomniac will say that the sun moved and whatever else, but to my eyes, the E3 2017 one here definitely looks better than the release one at the bottom. In this picture right here, I mean, Spider-Man opens his eyes. I don't know what the heck happened in this one. It's a compression from YouTube or whatever, but clearly one picture looks better than the other, right? But that still doesn't really impact my enjoyment of the title. I'm still looking forward to playing it because it was never really about the graphics in any game for me. What drew me to Spider-Man was the gameplay, the story, the combat. So I do have to kind of question when people get so up in arms over the downgrade stuff, if what they really are looking forward to the most is a great looking title. It happens with every game. And sure, what I mean by predictable, and I mentioned at the beginning, this is all predictable. Quite frankly, a lot of it has to do with the console war. Xbox fans, you know, this game is exclusive to PlayStation, so of course they're going to try to downplay it as much as possible. And of course, when I say Xbox fans, I don't mean all of them. I just mean the, you know, toxic ones. They'll try to downplay it as much as they can to make it look as bad. You know, they'll talk about the downgrade, you know, and things like that. But on the flip side, you have the PlayStation toxic fanboys, or whatever you want to call them, and they'll be praising Spider-Man, saying at least it's on our system and on Xbox, and saying, defending it and saying you're blind or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right? So you have that whole thing going on. But honestly, I knew this was going to happen. I knew as soon as these screenshots started surfacing from people who had the game and things looked a little bit different, I knew people were going to freak out, because people started freaking out earlier this generation. Yeah, you remember when people lost their minds over the fact that Grand Theft Auto had more grass on the PlayStation version than the Xbox version? And I know what you're going to say, Rand, that's not a comparable thing because it's comparing two consoles, and I get it. But the only reason I bring it up is because people lost their minds over blades of grass in one game versus the other. Blades of grass. So of course, people were going to lose their minds over the lack of puddles, even if this game is not coming to Xbox. It was bound to happen. And man, some of the comments I've seen flown around to people, directed at people, has made me embarrassed. You know, I'm a gamer. I love gaming. My channel here is all about video games. Yes, it's focused on the Xbox, but I play pretty much everything. And there are days where I love being part of the gaming community. This community can be great when it gives, you know, to others and, you know, raises up instead of puts down. But then days like, you know, for this, when you have grown men using racial slurs to other people for posting screenshots, when you have grown men harassing game developers and demanding answers over all this stuff, those are the days where I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. And I understand why gamers are looked at, you know, with disgust in the mainstream. It's for stuff like this, you know? And the fact that you have people out there using racial slurs and harassing developers is, I mean, there's no words for it. It's disgusting. It should not happen. But it is. That's what gaming is these days. When, you know, a title comes out, it gets analyzed under a microscope. You have the fanboys from both sides either downplaying it or, you know, upselling it. You have people freaking out about lack of puddles because they freaked out about lack of grass previously, you know? You have people freaking out about resolution differences earlier in the gen. You know, Quantum Break being 720p, Rise being 900p. People freak out about the slightest thing. So of course, it's all too predictable. And it will happen in the next big title. It'll happen when Days Gone comes out. It'll happen when Crackdown comes out. It'll happen when Anthem comes out. The game will get put under the microscope to see if there's any changes. But for right now, Spider-Man's turn in the sun. And yeah, one picture does look better than the other. But judging and reading from what people have said who have the game, it's improved in some areas, worse than others, but the game is still amazing. And that's what's important. Who cares, quite frankly, if the game doesn't look as good as it originally did? What matters most is how does it play? What's the story? Is the gameplay good? How's the combat? How's the stealth? How's the swinging mechanics? All that stuff should be more important than a single screenshot. And when you have 63 pages and whole Reddit forums of people complaining about this, defending this, attacking this, and 99.99% of these people have not even played the game, it's pretty goddamn embarrassing if you ask me. So that is the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. about the whole Puddlegate controversy in the comments below. Are you still excited to play Spider-Man on September 7th? I want to read all the different comments as I check them out every single day. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it out with a friend on Twitter and elsewhere. Hit the sub button if you're new to the channel. Hit that notification bell if you always want to be notified when I drop new content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.